So when Eala plays, we all get together and we all watch her support her as a group of people.
So incredible. This is my first time in the UL, so thank you.
So the year subscription, just in case.
The monthly.
Oh, the monthly.
You only pay when she plays. It's paid to play.
Get the yearly.
Yo,
it's $77. I love the honor.
On March 7, 2026, a Filipino spectator inside the BNP Paribas Open uttered those 7 words. Not muttered, not uploaded anonymously online, but spoken aloud on tape to Indian Wells tournament organizers. Hours later, while still fighting back tears on the court, Alex Eala herself explained why 115 million people have made a 20-year-old the most powerful ticket in women's tennis. This is the query. Will Eala's supporters continue to attend events only for her, or will they eventually fall in love with tennis itself? Leave a comment with your response. Eala had just defeated Diana Yastremska in a 3-set battle. 4-6, 7-5. Every point sounded like a football stadium in a late-night Indian Wells thriller. While she was still cooling off, hundreds of people lined up outside the venue to get autographs. It wasn't a Grand Slam championship. The world number 32 participated in this round of 64 match. Other courts were half empty across the grounds. The WTA cannot disregard that contrast. This week, Indian Wells faced criticism for new ticketing regulations that made Stadium 2 appear empty throughout the first several rounds. There were noticeable gaps in the spectators and sporadic clapping as the top 10 players entered the court. Following a commanding 6-4, 6-2 victory in the second round, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, who has 11 wins and 1 defeat this year, observed the enthusiasm of the fans and mentioned how many seats were occupied on a Friday. She was appreciative by the turnout. Now think about what was going on Eala's court at the same time. Only standing room, with flags hanging from each railing. Fans from the Inland Empire, San Diego, and Los Angeles had traveled for hours. In California alone, there are 2 million Filipinos who would pack a stadium for a player ranked 31 ranks lower than Sabalenka. The crowd had to be acknowledged by the world number 1. They were unable to be forced to leave by the world number 32. Indian Wells was not the starting point of this pattern. Sulla Talic, the tournament director, officially acknowledged that it had begun to pick up speed in Dubai 3 weeks prior. We made about $5.3 million over the course of 3 days in 72 hours, and it was fantastic. Every time she played, the stadium was packed. People were frantically attempting to obtain tickets, according to Talic. It is unlike anything we have ever seen. A tournament director, who has hosted all of the biggest names in women's tennis, said that a player outside of the top 30 created demand he had never seen. That isn't fan fervor. That is a disruption of the market. Even more astounding are the stats off the court. Eala's pre-tournament press conference at the Australian Open in January had 171,000 YouTube views. 9,000 people attended Sabalenka's. Before a single ball was hit, the world number 1, 3-time Grand Slam champion, and most powerful force in the women's game was outdrawn 19-1. It was a 20-year-old who has never advanced to a Slam quarterfinal, not a rival champion. Then came the quote that summed everything up on March 7. The statement that is currently reverberating through every WTA boardroom was delivered by a fan at Indian Wells speaking to officials and later quoted in Philstar. Only when Alex performs do we pay. That isn't just fandom. Exclusive economic loyalty is what that is. In simple terms, a whole population is telling the sport that their wallets open for one name and close for everyone else. It's also visible to other players. Coco Gauff made an incredible statement when standing at the press platform following her victory over Eala in the Dubai quarterfinals. I apologize, I realize you guys are probably here for Alex. I want to express my gratitude to Alex for introducing a new audience to the sport. This environment, in my opinion, is fantastic for the sport. The winning player gave the losing player credit for her contributions to every arena she plays in, not for her tennis. Gauff realized that Eala's supporters weren't merely applauding the outcome. In a sport that had never seen them before, they were making their presence known. After defeating Yastremska in 3 sets over the course of over 2.5 hours in Indian Wells, with temperatures plunging into the bitter cold of the desert, Eala discovered a microphone and her voice broke. Having this community behind me means the world, she remarked. Remain up late, endure the cold, and support me. It significantly heightened the emotions and sentiments following the game. She was not expressing appreciation. It overpowered her. Her voice made it clear that she did not consider the throng to be background noise. She fights through third sets at 11 at night because of them. Every tournament director, every commentator, and every player on the circuit is suddenly confirming what you already knew if you had been claiming for months that this phenomenon was real and that the vibe surrounding Eala was unlike anything tennis had ever encountered. Steve Johnson played in front of the largest audiences in professional tennis, lasted more than 10 years on the ATP Tour, and rose into the top 20. One of the most reputable independent voices in the sport, he currently co-hosts the Nothing Major podcast. On February 25, 2026, Johnson made a statement that no other member of the media dared to make. Is she larger than Sabalenka? Is she larger than Coco? Is she the most attractive player in women's tennis? Yes, man. It's absurd. Only a standing room. The world's crazy crowds. The number 32 player in the world is the biggest draw in women's tennis, according to a man who has played in front of large crowds for years and has lived inside such venues. Not moving in that direction. It's already there. The WTA has never had to deal with what Eala stands for. A player whose cultural significance is orders of magnitude higher than her rating. Every competition she participates in turns into a business event. She runs the risk of having half-empty stands at every competition she misses. Next is the Miami Open. Roland Garros and the clay court swing follow. The same issue is being asked by tournament directors from Strasbourg to Eastbourne as they watch Dubai and Indian Wells. How may Alex Eala be included in our draw? The more profound question is whether these supporters stay devoted to a single player or become lifelong tennis followers. Eala herself appears to be conscious of the risks. On March 7, she stated, "I have only dreamed of making tennis develop in the Philippines. And now I'm introducing tennis to a whole new global audience." She is playing for more than just outcomes. She's acting out a movement. That movement witnessed Eala fall 0-6, 2-6 to Goff in Dubai 3 weeks before to Indian Wells, a double bagel in a quarterfinal in front of the same boisterous Filipino crowd that had helped her advance to the draw. Instead of making excuses, she publicly expressed her gratitude, thanking both the opponent who outplayed her and the supporters who stayed. She returned to the court 7 days later at Indian Wells, where she triumphed in a 3-set marathon despite the bitter weather. Dubai sold out. The press room of the Australian Open flooded. On a Thursday night in March, Indian Wells became a Filipino celebration. And without hesitation, a fan informed the tournament officials after glancing at them. The reality that the entire sport must now face. Only when Alex performs do we pay. She was described as larger than Sabalenka by Steve Johnson. She changed the game, and Goff thanked her for it. And Alex Eala demonstrated that her relationship with her people is not a publicity stunt by standing on the court with tears in her eyes. No opponent can take it away, and no ranking can quantify it. This is the query. Will Eala's supporters continue to attend events only for her, or will they eventually fall in love with tennis itself? And is that devotion a gift to the sport or an issue that the WTA is unable to resolve? Leave a comment with your response. You belong here if you noticed this occurrence before the tournament directors and experts did. This channel follows the narrative as it develops. Miami later this month, Indian Wells this week, and all subsequent chapters. To be present when the next wave arrives, subscribe.